Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is FancyEye17 and I'll be your YouTuber today. Today we're going to be looking at the Entwicklung series of German tanks. So these tanks were meant to be the standardization of the German tank development. Basically meant to, reinvent the wheel when it came to German development. They wanted to be able to produce things cheap and fast, and they weren't able to do that with their Tiger IIs and their bigger tanks. They were very prone to technical difficulties, and it started showing. They broke down. It was just horrible. It was basically meant to reduce costs while being able to maximize production. So we're going to start off with the E10. The E10 was meant to replace the Panzer 38T, otherwise known in-game as the Hetzer. I'm not sure. I don't believe that was actually an official name given to the tank, which kind of bothers me sometimes when people refer to it as the Hetzer, if that's not a historical name for it. One of my pet peeves, don't mind me. They wanted to take the design they already had and equip a new suspension to it, which was known as the Belleville washer suspension, and it was quite an interesting design. It had no return wheels on it, so it was just a really interesting concept, and that specific suspension was meant to be used and utilized on all of the Enwicklung Series tanks, just in their different capacities to their respective tanks. Next, we'll move on to the E25 Standardpanzer. As we've seen in game at tier 7, I actually wish we could get the E10 in the game, maybe at tier 5 or tier 6. It's maybe just an optional tank to maybe play instead of the Panzer IV, Jagdpanzer. Just one of those things. The E25 was meant to replace the Panzer III and IV in the Jagdpanzer. There was a couple different tanks that went along with this design to be introduced, such as the heavy Waffenträger artillery tanks, which we do see the Borzig, but I would love to actually see some of the other Waffenträgers. German isn't my specialty, but, so please don't mind me if I'm butchering these things. It's currently 3:15 a.m. while I'm recording this video, and, yeah, my vocabulary isn't the best. The E25 is a fun tank in-game. I love zooming around in it, otherwise known as the Roach. Just really fun to bully other tanks. You have very strong DPM, but no armor. Got to rely on that speed. And I got that bounce on that track. The Russian tanks just eat tracks. I swear, makes me so mad half the time. Next, we're going to move on to the E50 and E50M Standardpanzer. These were meant to replace the Tiger I and the Panther. The E50M held a lot of resemblance to the Tiger II in bodywork, without, the frontal plate and lower plate was in a slightly different position, but it still held that armor profile that a Tiger II had, which is why in game it's so menacing to go against it. You feel like you're piloting a heavy tank, because you are. When it came to the production of these tanks, the way they drilled and manufactured the armor for the tank cut their production costs by a lot. It would have made the tanks lighter, easier to handle, the whole 9 yards for those series of tanks. I personally have not been able to get past tier 8 with the German tanks. I don't really like the RU-251 too much. I feel that it's way too power-crept for me to play. I don't enjoy playing it, so I haven't touched it. If anyone recommends going up the medium line to the Indian Panzer, let me know. Comments below. I'd like to see how you guys feel about that tank and if it's worth putting some time into. I know you don't see it too much, but it is what it is. So now we're going to talk about the Enwicklung 75 Standardpanzer. Obviously, it was meant to replace the Tiger II and the Jagdtiger. It's essentially a bulkier, better Tiger II. Some simplified mechanics to it, still having that Belleville washer suspension, which was unique to the series of tanks. Just they were ahead of their time in actually producing. None of these tanks, to my knowledge, saw any service or production. I did not get to see, I couldn't find any photos of an E10 or E25 actually in service or any videos of its production. I didn't look too hard into that. Like I said, it's 3 o'clock in the morning right now while I'm recording this, and I just wrote down all my notes about 15 minutes ago, figured out what I wanted to talk about. So this guy we're watching right here, he's one of my subscribers. Reached out to him in the comments because he said he wanted to see this series of tanks, and I said, hey, if you want to send me a replay, I'll more than gladly showcase it and talk about the series with your video. So if you guys have ever seen any videos of you playing and you're interested in a tank, send me it, email me, something like that, put it in the comments. I'll gladly look at it and put it in the next video. So the Tiger 2 would be replaced by the E75. They really wanted to simplify the roles of their tanks along with their production, so they wanted their vehicles to be multi-role. The E75 in itself had 2 different guns made for it, which you actually get to use in game, the L100 and whatever the other one was. I personally prefer the Alpha over the DPM in this tank. 13 seconds isn't too bad, especially when you have a chance to just decimate people in this tank. Can't tell you how many times I've been high rolling 500 gun people. You have 460 Alpha, just solid gun. And next, the fabled E100. It was meant to be a standard class for super heavies. Obviously, it did actually, quote unquote, was produced. The hole for it was made and tested. Originally, a prototype mouse turret was fixed to the turret while they were developing E100, and just a crazy design. Mass per square centimeter was insane. I was looking at it, I didn't write it down, which is unfortunate. I was going to write some statistics down about what the tank was actually capable of moving, producing, all that pressure per inch. I mean, you probably couldn't roll the thing across the bridge, any bridge. You can reinforce it all you want, it'll probably go right down through it. It was heavy. Just the hole was heavy. So imagine putting on a turret combat weight, it'd be insanely huge. The earliest design of the E100 was known as the Tiger Mouse, which was essentially just a Tiger 2 kind of beefed up mount, had like a mouse hole or something like that, or not a hole. It was stupidly weird looking, to say the least. I believe it was literally just a E100 hole with a Tiger turret. Stupidly weird. And it was it was made to kind of move past the mouse prototype because Lord and Savior, I guess, as they discussed him as. I don't know if that's a demonetization. Not monetized anyway, so it doesn't really fucking matter. It never saw service. It was eventually brought to the United Kingdom and eventually scrapped after testing. But some fun facts for the series, not all of it was bad. You actually get to see the engines meant for the E75 and E50 used in real life. The Maybach 1000 horsepower engine was used in the AMX-50 French heavy tank series of armored tanks, as well as that Belleville and washer suspension that we keep talking about. That was used on a modern tank for Sweden, the Panzer 61. Fun little fun facts. Like I said, this isn't meant to be a very long video. It's 3 a.m. I want to go to bed, but I wanted to get this video out before the update comes out, so I had the replays. And, like I said, I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you guys enjoy this little tidbit. Thank you so much. Have a good one.